Mount Rushmore is, oddly enough, something that comes up a lot now in the pop culture ecosystem online when it comes to debates or rankings. People use Teddy Roosevelt, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson as kind of placeholders, and they just put their favorite heroes, villains, movies, what have you, in place of them. And I really like this kind of ranking system because it's not really a full-on ranking, at least for me. This won't be this is number one spot, this is number two, three, and four. This is just a general top four. They can be, I'm not listing them in any particular order from worst to best or best to worst. But today I'm going to be doing my Mount Rushmore of DC heroes. Without further ado, I guess we'll just jump right into it. The first off is going to be, of course, Batman, the Dark Knight. I mean, when you talk DC, you can't have DC without Batman. It's kind of just how it goes. Batman is one of, if not the most recognizable superhero worldwide of all time. He's been around forever now. And contrary to what James Gunn may say or think, I don't think Batman is boring yet. I don't think we've seen a boring adaptation of him. We've seen, sure, some bad ones, but overall, I don't think he is ever going to get boring because there's just so much wealth there with the character and with what you could do with him. Now, I've talked about Batman extensively on this channel, but one of the things that makes him so iconic for me and timeless is just who he is as a hero and a person. Because unlike Spider-Man, who is, very optimistic and hope-filled, and even Superman, Batman is born out of hate in a way, or he's born out of torment and torture and going through one of the worst things a human being can possibly go through. And he did all that at a young age, and it kind of jaded him. And don't get me wrong, depending on what adaptation you choose, that, still shines through. But for the most part, that doesn't make him who he is. It's in spite of all that, that Batman is still a good person. He chooses to be a hero. Now, he's a darker hero. He's sometimes, actually most of the time very serious, but nonetheless, he's a hero. And I think that's what makes him so iconic for me. Because the truth is, life is not always, it's just not easy. And sometimes we have bad things happen to us, and it makes you really want to just kind of give up. It makes you want to stop trying, and it makes you question what the point of being a nice or a good person is. But it's characters like this that remind me, what it's all about. And obviously this isn't the only thing that reminds me of that, but I'm just saying it's nice to have kind of an example, and Batman is definitely one of the best examples. Not to mention the cape and the cowl and the cars and the gadgets. I mean, he's just really cool, so you really can't go wrong. Number two, or next up on my list here, I'm going to be having Superman. Superman is someone who is, again, one of, if not the most recognizable superheroes on the planet Earth. And Superman's very contrary to Batman. I've never really liked Superman as much as Batman. Batman will forever be my top superhero, but I will say Superman does have a lot that he brings to the table and a lot to offer audiences in terms of what you should look up to and what you should aspire to be. As I mentioned before, he's a very hopeful character, and hope is definitely needed in the world now more than ever. But not only that, he's also he's a complicated character because he can be very bland and boring because he's, basically invincible. He is invincible, but obviously he has a couple weaknesses, but for the most part, he's invincible. And to a lot of people, that sounds really boring and sounds like it could maybe get old, but I will say, especially as of recently, they've managed to make him more human, more relatable, and more vulnerable, which I can really appreciate because it's not easy to do. So I don't know. It's tough to say because my opinion on Superman has changed so much, especially even since making this channel. I used to, say I outright hated Superman, which I did. But now I can honestly say that, I enjoy him as a character and I look forward to seeing what the future of that character is. Because, yes, he is invincible. He is an alien from another planet. He's basically a god. But at his core, he is a man. He is someone who loves his family, who loves his wife slash girlfriend. He's just a very human character, which is not what most people probably think when they first think of Superman. But to me, that's what he is. So I can really appreciate that. Not to mention, like I said with Batman, you just don't have DC without Superman. It's as simple as that. So kind of goes without saying. Yeah, I think Superman is kind of a no-brainer on this Mount Rushmore. My third pick for DC's Mount Rushmore of superheroes, at least, would be the Flash, specifically Barry Allen's Flash. Now, I would want to preface this by saying this is honestly pretty biased just based on my experience with the Flash TV show. I grew up on that show. I love that show. I love Grant Gustin's portrayal. I don't read many comics, admittedly. I've said that on this channel before, but I will say I don't think you need to read comics to enjoy a character. And if you guys are on this channel for someone who gives, comic book heavy related opinions, then I think you're on the wrong channel because that's just not me. But Barry Allen's Flash is, again, another super interesting character. And when I think of DC, these are the characters I picked here are ones I picked for the reasons I dive into, but also just because when I think DC, this is the characters that flash into my mind. No pun intended. But yeah, the Flash is another interesting one because he's a hero who is so powerful, so strong and overpowered, frankly, that you would think, oh, well, that's going to be a boring character. And don't get me wrong, there's times, especially on the CW show, where he is a boring character because he's just so it doesn't seem like anything should really be a problem for him. But I will say, when written right, when done right, which he has been done before, the Flash is one of the most interesting characters in all of DC. Not just heroes, but villains too. As a whole, he's just super interesting. He's the fastest man on the planet, and he is he's got the quips a little bit of Spider-Man. He can have the seriousness of Batman. It's just a very interesting and unique character because he's not really one side of the coin like Batman or Superman. He's kind of in the middle, which I can enjoy. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely more on the goofier, not goofy, but less serious side. But when he is serious, it's it's entertaining stuff. It's entertaining to watch or read, or if he is, if you guys are comic book readers. But either way, I just love Barry Allen's Flash. Now, Wally West is amazing, but again, there's only 4 spots on this list, and I can make a Flash Mount Rushmore itself because of how many Flashes there are. It's kind of like a Green Lantern type of thing. It's like, you can have all 4 spots be the one mantle if you want, but that's not really what this is about. So yeah, Flash has to go here. Now, last but certainly not least, I'm going to be putting Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is constantly talked about on this channel when it comes to DC and the Trinity, or the top 3. If you don't know what that is, it's just, again, when I think DC, I think Wonder Woman, one of the most iconic superheroes of all time. Definitely one of the most, if not the most iconic female superhero of all time, and for good reason. She's strong, she's diplomatic, she can be funny, she can be she usually is actually very fierce. Just a super entertaining one. And I really, really like where her character has been, but I'm also interested to see where it goes because, frankly, it's just, I don't know. I'm not super happy with how Gal Gadot's version ended, but I have faith in the future. I don't really have much else to say on Wonder Woman specifically, just because, again, I feel like I've already said all of it on this channel. But I mean, you guys, if you're watching this, should know already. Kind of goes without saying, she was going to be up here. Like, I mean, everyone has their own lists, but I feel like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they pretty much speak for themselves. I just really like what Wonder Woman brings to the table in terms of a superhero, especially one for women, but also she's compelling because I look up to her and I'm not a woman, obviously. Like, I think anyone can look up to her and admire what she is as a superhero. So that kind of goes a really long way for me because it's not easy to do, clearly. So that's my Mount Rushmore for DC superheroes. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did you enjoy my list? If not, tell me why. Tell me what yours would be. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.